So, in today's episode of Donald Trump Tries to Rewrite History, he is now, it's being said that he is going to be calling on the Supreme Court to overturn the E. Jean Carroll verdict. When I saw this headline, I wasn't at all surprised because Trump is going to want to try to completely reshape the narrative. That's why the entire time he spent saying it's all fake news, it's all one big hoax. He says that to discredit people. He admits that. And he wants to completely rewrite history and reclaim what little bit of a legacy that he has, which I don't think he has any legacy other than he's America's first dictator. But I'm going to be reading you an article here from the Associated Press. Again, the timing of this, to me, is so disgusting because we heard from the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. We heard from the victims of Ghislaine Maxwell, the people who were abused at their hands. And in the middle of all this, Donald Trump goes to the one person who he abused and defamed and says, I want that story rewritten. So it's pretty disgusting. But I do want to thank y'all so much for supporting what it is that I do here on the channel. And if you haven't had a chance, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 1 million subscribers. I truly do appreciate all of you. And it doesn't cost anything to do so. If you like this kind of content, be sure and hit it and help us get to 1 million. And I appreciate y'all so much. But here it is from the Associated Press. Trump plans to ask the Supreme Court to toss the E. Jean Carroll $5 million abuse and defamation verdict. Donald Trump will soon ask the Supreme Court to throw out a jury's finding in a civil lawsuit that he sexually abused writer E. Jean Carroll at a Manhattan department store in the mid-1990s and later defamed her, his lawyers said in a recent court filing. Trump's lawyers previewed the move as they asked the High Court to extend its deadline for challenging the $5 million verdict from September 10th to November 11th. The president intends to seek review of significant issues arising from the trial and the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Subsequent decisions upholding the verdict, his lawyers said. Now, Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, said Wednesday, "We do not believe that the president will be able to present any legal issues in the Carroll cases that merit review by the United States Supreme Court." Carroll testified at a 2023 trial that Trump turned a friendly encounter in the spring of '96 into a violent attack in the dressing room at the Bergdorf Goodman, a luxury retailer across the street from Trump Tower. The jury also found Trump liable for defaming Carroll when he made comments about her in October of 2022, denying the allegation. A 3-judge appellate panel upheld the verdict last December, rejecting Trump's claim that Judge Lewis Kaplan's decision spoiled the trial, including by allowing 2 other Trump sexual abuse accusers to testify. The woman said Trump committed similar acts. The women said Trump committed similar acts against them in the 70s and in 2005. Trump denied all 3 women's allegations. In June, Second Court judges denied Trump's petition for the full appellate court to take up the case. That left Trump with 2 options: accept the results and allow Carroll to collect the judgment, which he had previously paid in escrow, or fight it on in the Supreme Court, whose conservative majority, including 3 of his own appointees, could be more open to considering his challenge. Trump skipped the 2023 trial, but testified briefly at a follow-up defamation trial last year that ended with the jury ordering him to pay Carroll an additional $83.3 million. The second trial resulted from the comments that then President Trump made in 2019 after Carroll first made the accusations public in a memoir. Judge Kaplan presided over both trials and instructed the second jury to accept the first jury's verdict, finding that Trump had sexually abused Carroll. Judge Kaplan and Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, are not related. In their deadline-related filing, Trump's lawyers said Kaplan compounded his significant errors at the first trial by improperly preventing Trump from contesting the first jury's finding that he sexually abused Carroll, leading to an unjust judgment of $83.3 million. The Second Circuit heard arguments in June in Trump's appeal of that verdict, but has not ruled. Trump has had recent success fending off cost of civil judgments. Last month, a New York appeals court threw out Trump's staggering penalty in a state civil fraud lawsuit. The Associated Press does not identify the people who say they have been sexually assaulted unless they come forward publicly, as Carroll has done. But folks, again, I just want you to think about the timing of all of this, that the victims of Epstein and Maxwell are speaking out, and then he's going out here and trying to get this verdict overturned. And I'm glad that we heard from the victims of Epstein and Maxwell. I'm glad that and I applaud them for having the courage to speak out. And I'm glad we're listening to them. But we've seen people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, people we never thought. We've seen them join Thomas Massie. But these are the same people who have went out of their way to mock and ridicule E. Jean Carroll and any other victim that says Donald Trump abused them. So you got to look at it from this point of view. You could sit here all day long and say Trump's innocent. You can scream that all day long. But he has a long list of women accusing him of these things. He's been found liable of abuse. He has been found defaming the victim. Those are verdicts that came down on him before we got to the point we're at now. And so this is this dude's past. And we could sit back and show every picture of him with Epstein and Maxwell. We could go back and play all the clips of all the things that he said about women, including his own daughter, over the years. I mean, he has absolutely got one of the most, checkered past ever. And then he's up there saying, I'm innocent in all this, but I'm going to keep it all a secret. And while I'm keeping all this a secret, I'm going to get this verdict over here overturned. And people doesn't see how guilty that makes him look. His supporters will still find a way to twist this. And if you could sit and say, hey, if you're Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, or Lauren Boebert, if you would be willing to hear out the victims of Epstein and Maxwell, then why have they always went out of their way to dismiss E. Jean Carroll or any other woman that has accused Trump? What's the difference is the question I'm asking. They never have an answer for that, because it's really at the end of the day about their loyalty to Donald Trump. But what we're witnessing here, folks, is Donald Trump trying to rewrite history. And it's just sad that we're here. It's exactly what we knew would happen. And the hardest part about this, covering it day to day for me, is the fact that it's just all the videos that I put out over the years, and especially last year leading up to the election, the countless videos that I put out, I was saying this is going to be a revenge presidency. This is going to be Donald Trump trying to get back at everyone that ever tried to hold him accountable. This is going to be Donald Trump trying to reshape and rechange the narrative. This is going to be Donald Trump giving a pardon to all the January 6th insurrectionists. This is going to be Donald Trump, continuing to cover up everything. Everything that we said leading up to this is where we're at. And so now it's like, yeah, this is what I was telling you. So I look at it this way. The first person to ever die of an overdose of heroin, I think they should get a pass for that one, because they didn't realize just how deadly heroin was. They didn't realize what it was that they were dealing with. But after all the thousands and millions of people who have lost their life to that drug today, and all the examples we have to go on, then people today should be more aware that that's a deadly drug. And I look at it the same way with Donald Trump. It's one of those things where if you fell for it in the beginning, in 2016, okay, yeah, you wanted a businessman to shake things up. You was tired of the Clintons and the Bushes. You wanted to see something different. You wanted a populist. Okay, fine, if you were there. But if you stuck with him after January 6th, then you supported an insurrection, and you supported people overturning an election, and you supported people trying to take away my vote, and you supported destroying democracy. And if you still stand with him after becoming a convicted felon, and you still stand with him after he looks at you and says that it's all one big hoax, then there's no other way I can slice this. You support pedophiles, and you support going to bat and defending and covering for them. And that's not me calling Donald Trump one. I'm just simply saying these are the people he's protecting when he won't release the files. And here he is trying to get this verdict overturned so he can say, hey, look, I'm innocent. It was all fake news. It was all weaponization of government. That's why that this election that we just came through was so important, and that's why we tried to warn people. But I do appreciate all of you for supporting what it is that I do and for sticking with me. And, we knew this was what was going to happen going into it. We all said it, and now here we are. We're in the phase now where all we can do is try to pick up the pieces and move forward. And we can, and we will. It's going to take a whole lot of work, but we cannot allow Donald Trump to cover this up, and we can't allow him to constantly reshape and rewrite American history. That verdict should stand, and he should have to live with it the rest of his life. I hope one day we can see a little bit of decency restored. If anything, I would just like to see, I don't know if we'll ever be able to restore it all, but I would just like to see human decency make a comeback. That would be nice. But we'll keep putting in the work, and hopefully one day, folks, we can get there.